In today's Photoshop lesson, we're going to do what is known as a window pull. A window pull is making the outside of your photo look as good as the inside of your photo when we're doing real estate. So let me show you how this works. Let's go open, and we can get these two images. I'll just draw a box. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to do it this way because I don't want to open these in separate documents. I want them to be in the same document. Let's cancel this. I have another way that actually saves us some time. We'll go File, Scripts, and we'll go down here to Load Files into Stacks. Now when we do that, it's very similar in Lightroom as opening as layers in Photoshop. Let me click on that. Now we have to go tell which images we want to bring in. So we'll click on Browse. Here's the same two images. I'm just going to draw a box. That selects them, and I'll say OK. So now that puts those two images in the list. Now we do want to attempt to automatically align source images, so that will save us some time in case our camera moved between the two shots. So now I'm going to say OK. Now this will bring in both images, but it will bring them into the same document, and it saves us the time of dragging one image over and putting it into the other image. Okay, so we're almost done. There we go. It supposedly lined it all up. There's our two images, one on top of the other. Let me show you what we have. Here's a shot of me holding a flash onto the window. This is the room we're going to shoot, but you notice the outside is good here. That was exposed for the outside light. Let me turn that one off. Now here's the other shot of the same room, but this is exposed for the inside light, but the outside of course is blown out. So we're going to take the image from the first one, from the top one here, and take that outside and combine it with the one on the bottom. So let's see how that goes. Now before we do that, let's check to see if our images are actually lined up on each other. So let me zoom in on this little lantern that's on the table here. Let me get even closer. See that little X there? Let's turn that layer off. Here, let's pull a guide down. This might even make it more visible. See, I'm going to pull a guide from the edges. If you don't have guides, you can hit Control R. That brings up the rulers, and you can just go in there and pull down. You'll get a guide. Let's turn this layer off and see how these line up. They're pretty close. Very close. If they were off a little bit, what we could do is we could click on that layer and highlight it, and we can get the Move tool. That's V. That lights up the Move tool, and then we could just nudge it over if we thought it needed to be actually lined up. I think that's pretty close. So let's go with that. Now let me go full screen, and then I'm going to get rid of these guides. Control H will hide those for us. Okay, so we got our two photos lined up. Now all we have to do is get the two images, the two layers combined. And before we combine the two, let me show you one more little layer mode setting. If you change this top layer to difference down here, it will change to make it look funny like this. But anything that's black is lined up, and if you don't think you're lined up, that's when you can use the Move tool. For instance, let me move the top layer up one. See, that made it worse. It's not as black. So there's just another way to help line things up. So as I move the arrow key up and down, we were in the best spot. So difference, if you want to see if two layers line up. If they do line up, they will turn to black. So you can see certain things in here are black, which means they're a perfect alignment. But these are of different brightnesses, so you won't get a perfect black. Anyway, let's change this back to normal for right now, and we have our normal brightness, normal layer. Now here's what we're going to do. The trick on to blend these two layers is very simple. All we're going to do is change it to darkening mode. We change it to darken mode, wham. Look, the outside windows are good. Now the inside is messed up, like there's still an arm of me in here, and some of the stuff didn't come out so good. But that's not a problem. What we're going to do is just mask it out. So watch this. We're going to go, and here's the mask right down here. I'm going to hold the Alt key down, says I have a PC, but if you have a Mac, hold the Option key down and click on the layer mask icon. That gives you a black layer mask, which means you can't see anything in that layer if it's black. So that's good. Now we're back where we were. All we want to see is the good window. So what I'm going to do now is get B. I'm going to tap B on the keyboard. That gives me a brush. I want to paint it white because it's all black. So there's the white. That's the foreground color. I want to do it at 100%. So 50 up to 100. Flow 100. That's good. Now watch this. I'm going to click here with this brush and I'm going to paint over the window. Now if you notice, I am not being careful. I'm just painting right over the whole window. I'm not going in close on the edges or anything. Just paint over the whole thing and voila, I'm done. That window outside looks good. The window looks like it always did. Now let's see if, let me turn that layer off and actually see what it did. Before, after. So that's called a window pull, and it sure saves time. So the camera technique is to flash the window. So the outside is still ambient, but the pixels around in your image around the window are bright. When you change the mode to darken, only the dark pixels will show. They're the winners. Those are the ones that will show. Those white pixels that we had will not be visible. So that's the way the window pull works. I hope you picked up something. Thanks for watching.